Good morning, dinghy sailors. You can see I've got the car. And that can only mean one thing. Well, it could mean two things, couldn't it, actually? That Mabel's broken down again, which she hasn't. Or we're going to take the boat home. So the boatyard's ready, or the home boatyard is ready. I'm feeling a lot better. Yesterday I felt awful. I didn't get a good night's sleep, but I'm well enough to come and get the boat because I just want to get all the projects done on the boat that need it to be at home. So things like the spray cover, making the tent a bit better, things like that are going to be so easy, having the boat just there and having my, things like the sewing machine just right there. So we're going to take her home. Coming up today, what we're going to do is get the trailer out, and you may have noticed we have the winch with us and our rope. So we're going to have a little play with trailers, hauling out, hauling in, you name it. Hopefully the line won't get in the way of too many people. I'm going to have a little play with that. We do need to have a practice with this winch, don't we? And then I will... Yeah, and then I think we'll go home. I've noticed there's someone we know here, Les. So he must be on his boat or near to it. So we might go and visit him. But I'm going to get the trailer, get it ready down by the slipways, and then we'll get the pack raft in, get ourselves... Oh, excusez-moi. We'll get the pack raft in and we'll get ourselves out to the boat. The drone is going to be kept well under 10 metres. In fact, she's lower than the mast at the moment, so as long as we keep her there should be no problems. Right, let's get back to jetty. Some people eke at me not using my fenders, but I've never had a problem here. They've got the rubber strips on the side, and we've never been on this jetty actually, but this is the club jetty, like the one that the club reserves for the ribs, etc. So it'd be nice to use it. This one's in Probably a bit of better state of repair than the others, to be frank. Right, I've got the drone down. I can't have it up with these jets around. It's just irresponsible. So anyway, we got the boat on the jetty. Time to play with Winch. Oh my word, look at this coming over. It's an A400, I think. We've seen these before, or this before, but that is low. Wow, that's low. You could hear the wind coming through from those propellers. Wow, that was weird. Yeah, good job the drone's not up. Right, I'm on the hunt for some stones. Let me tell you what we're gonna do. First thing we're gonna do, we're gonna get this trailer on some stones so I can get it off the tow bar and it won't roll back. To be quite frank, you probably need the piddliest little stone. Something like that will probably do for this ramp. Then we're going to do something. We're going to attach the rope and just get a feel for what that feels like just with the trailer. And then we're going to get the winch out and have a play with that. So let's crack on and do that and see how we get on. So that should be fine like that. Now, this is my rope that I bought. Do apologise, I'm still full of catarrh. Now, this is off Amazon and it was sold as, you know, I don't know what, £8,000 rope and all that, but I don't like the way it does this, and it feels silky. It's sold as nylon rope. I don't even know if it's nylon or polyester. It's hard to tell. It feels like polyester to me. But it can't be that good if it just does that, surely. I don't know. But, you know, I think for the boat, you know, we are vastly underrated for this rope. So, you know, I think it's perfectly safe to have a go. I just want to see what happens. If you go and look at my sea adventures, you'll see that we actually use Norman's rope and we just put it off the tow bar as a rule. However, there's two problems with that. Let me show you what I mean. So, the first problem is this big old greasy thing here. You put a bowline around here and before you know where you are, it's come up, and I'm not going to do it even because it's so filthy, and the rope's just getting, oh well, there we go, just with that, you know, it's getting grease all over it and it goes everywhere. So I'm looking for the towing eye, but I don't think they have them on the back, do they? Just on the front. So what we've been doing is putting a bowline on, and then someone has been forcibly, just usually me I think, holding it down just to keep it from going up to there. The other thing it's done is slipped off. So I think that's partially because, I mean, it's got a little square edge at the bottom there, but it's partially because the tow bar is not particularly straight square, is it? The rope is easily gonna slip over that round profile, but also the grease has got to help with that too. So as you can see on my car, there's pretty little other places we could connect a rope to pull it down or anything like that. So what we tried was to just do the knot a lot tighter here. So I'm going to do it at the risk of ruining my rope. So we're going to do a round turn and 2 half hitches on here. So let's do that. And actually this is the knot I used on when we were recovering the rib, when I did my rib training, powerboat training. So, you know, but that boat was on the flat, we were on the beach, and all we did was use this to pull the boat clear of the waves, because we couldn't recover the boat, it was so rough. We had to put the boat on the beach and then recover it from the beach onto the trailer. So we could try that. To be honest with you, I think it's kind of worked, hasn't it? But I wouldn't trust that on a slipway, you know, where when there's so much strain, you can see that knot loosening already. But on this slipway, I think we can give it a go. The worst that's going to happen is the trailer ends up in the water somewhere. So let's give it a go. So this is how I would normally do it. I put the rope through here. And as you can see, there's a lot of rope. Whoa. We don't want it tangled up there. And then what we would also then do on the slipway, we would then get the rope taut. So we'd kind of tie it off at say 10 meters length. Just tie it here. And then we would slowly push the trolley out to where the slipway started. And then one person would reverse the car down. And then other people would manipulate where the trolley goes, steering and whatnot. But when you're on your own, you can't do that, because you've got to be able to steer this thing. This on the end of 10 or 20 meters of line is going to go all over the place. So what I've heard people do is you just do it yourself. Now, there's not enough friction on that to let this trolley go. There probably is here, but on a big slipway loaded with the boat, so you could be talking 700 kilos with kit. There's no way you're going to hold on to that. So what you could do is do what someone's taught me, is you can tie it off like that. So what I'm going to do is I've tied it off like that. I'm going to release these stones and let's just have a play, see what that does. Whoop, there we go. So first of all, let's let that go. Yeah, so that's kind of not going anywhere, is it? So then we can just do that, and then we can slowly let that out. So let's do that. Now, that's what I'd normally do. I still worry that if you did get that wrong, you know, and you were trying to get this other thing over and you fell over, you know, look, even on this slipway, that's not enough, is it? And can you... So the jockey wheel, just got to be careful of that, needs to be, I would keep the jockey wheel quite low. That's it. There we go. So for this test, I'm going to stay here. I'm just going to let that out, see what happens. So you can see the jockey wheel's off a tickle. So already we've got 1, 3, 4 meters maybe, and we're off at an angle. So let's let that go more. Whoop. The one thing is that because this is such a shallow slipway, and because we've got no boat on the end, this would normally go like this, up. So what we actually end up having to do is one person has to come down here and hold it down. You don't need much weight to counterbalance it, but you do need a counterbalance there. So you can see that you do need somebody to steer and keep the boat down when you're hauling in or hauling out. So, you know, whilst this is a decent technique, you know, I think solo with this size boat, you could be struggling a bit. You know, let's see if I can, you know, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Just seems to me like it could be a struggle. So, one thing we're going to do, let's tie that off. It is nice to know you can tie that off like a cleat. And let's get the, we can't get the winch on, can we? We're going to have to block that, back lock the wheels, and then we'll get the winch on. The other thing you have to remember is if you're on your own and you do injure yourself, you know, what do? You also have to remember if the slipway is slippy, you know, and you slip or you just can't get purchase, all these things add up, you know. Listen, you might go out, you're young, you're free, you're strong, you know, you've got a different risk appetite to me, and you might be fine. You might use the rope and you might be fine. The other thing is experience as well. I am not as experienced at this as other people, so I'm going to make the job as easy as possible. One last thing I will say is, you can see that rope. As I was untying it off the ball, it's just all splaying out. That rope cost me, I think it's £40 for 40 metres, 30 metres. It's more like 30 metres, I think. To get proper rope for this, you are talking near to £200 for that rope. Well, I got this winch, and I already had the battery. You can run it off the car battery if you want, but I got this winch in the bracket for way less than that. It was like £190. So, you know, so this is actually a cheaper option anyway. Don't think this has a back and a front. It's got this little notch in it, so I'm going to put that this way, so that goes over like that. That then comes over the top like that. Maybe that is the wrong way around. Let's do it that way. Try that. It'd help if I got the locking pin. Nice to know that works. There we go. Then the locking pin goes like that. Yeah, that's looking good. Then we're going to put it into free spool. We don't really need that. Let me get rid of this. If I'm using this like this, I need to get some connectors for the top of this, because I don't need anything else. The jump leads are just going to be an added complexity. So these aren't going to fit on here. So oh, some paddle boarders over there. So yeah, I'm going to have to use the jump leads today. But if I can get proper little cable clips or something like that on the end of these, then that might work. See, positive. There we go. That's gonna be okay, and that's basically ready to go. Lock it into gear, and then here we go. I'm so excited about this. There we go. You can see how responsive it is. And then now, of course, I can come down here, steer it. Trying to get the jockey wheel. I've just got the jockey wheel out of its groove, so the jockey wheel now will move. So it's going to self-steer, isn't it? But look at that. Not much of a test that, was it? So now, what we could do is two things to let it out. First of all, I'm just going to risk this slightly. You know, you've got your line anyway, but we need to let it out now, so let's do that. Oh, see, there's hardly any slope on this. There we go. I am super impressed with that so far. So I've got the wired remote here. I'm just going to pop that in there. You can see how long this is. It's about 5 meters, I'd say. The only benefit of having that is, I guess, you know, it's one less thing to worry about, isn't it, when you have a wired thing. Wireless stuff is still a bit unreliable. Batteries needed as well. But for me, I don't think I'm going to use this much, simply because it's not long enough for what I need it. I think for a first test, we're going to let this line, well, I've left this line out now. That's about, I'd say it's about 10 meters. It's probably a little less than 10 meters. What I'm going to do now is just reverse the car. So that's almost at the, it's almost at the shore. And then we'll let it out another couple of meters and we'll haul the boat out like that. There's no sense in us having this huge long line right now. We'll test it on a shorter line, and then what we'll do is test it on a longer line. So let's crack on and do that. So that didn't work at all well. I've got the boat ready. I just reversed the trailer. She's having none of it. You just can't reverse on the rope like that. So I think we're shallow enough to be able to correct this ourselves. There we go. I just thought we just need to check that. It's been about 10 minutes, no more than. So 12.69. So it's only lost 10.1 of a volt, which isn't a horrendous amount. It's about 5 to 10, between 5 and 10% of the battery. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. Switches off quite quickly. I said I wasn't going to do a full test of this, but I pretty much have. We're almost out. You wouldn't want to unwind any more than that, I would say. Otherwise you're just going to pull the line off the drum, aren't you? So that's probably as much as we dare do. But I have to say, it was really easy to steer and let that out just with the trailer. So far so good. Right, I've got some chocks on the wheels, stone chocks, just in case. I don't normally do that. You can see the boat's bobbling about, but we need to get her out, really. She's ready to go. I'm just going to put a couple of little warning bags here to stop cars driving into this line, because that would be a nightmare, wouldn't it? So it at least looks like this. They're close, aren't they, really? Don't want a car to drive through it. Right, let's go. Let's give it a go. trailer's raised at the front. That's to be expected of any boat when you pull her on. Just pull her on. There she goes. Oh, there we go, remote control. Now, oh, I'm out of breath. That swinging cradle's hitting the bottom, so look, watch this. That's all you need. See? That's all you need. And actually, she's down anyway, look. So let's bring her in. Interestingly, what I mentioned here about this going up, but it's actually found its own way now, so you just have to, in fact they tell you a lot about undoing it and bringing it in, so that's probably what they mean. But we're doing well so far. That was me just coming off the button. There we go. Oh, let's stop the stopwatch. I'm going to take 10 seconds off that. So 2 minutes 44. So that's 2 minutes 44 for the whole length of that, which was, I think it's 16 meters. The Dyneema. We were a meter, so 15 meters. That's good news, isn't it? Let's check the battery for how much power it's got. Well, it's 12.58. So I know that's going to go up to, well, it's 12.59. Probably going to go up to 12.56, 12.6 anytime now. That's brilliant. So I know it's going to be at least 0.1 of a volt for every almost 3 minutes of. Oh no, but that's out as well, yeah. So yeah, every 3 minutes of winching, and that's under the load as well. I'm really pleased with that. I am so pleased with that. Now, one more thing to do, because we have now got the trailer here. Let me show you. So the trailer is here and the tow bar is here. Now, at the moment, we've got no way of getting the trailer on the tow bar. Now, what I would tell you is, I would probably now just pull the boat up onto the flat. I think you'd be fine with this, and you would then be able to manipulate the trailer. We'd get the winch off straight away, get the trailer on the car, and we'd be good to go. The other way you could do it is you could chock the back wheels, take the winch off, and then reverse the car. Now, if you're on a slipway, you're going to have to do some pretty good reversing, aren't you? Because you're not really going to be able to move the boat side to side. You're going to very quickly lose control of it. So you're not going to be able to even pull it a centimetre, are you? So I think that's the thing. You would pull the boat now onto the slipway, but with this very low, this very, very short rope, you could practically tow it home like that, couldn't you? Not that I'm going to. The other thing I'll show you here is, yes, it did wind up a bit unevenly here, but it was pretty much empty, this spool, so you can see you've got more than enough room, and it seems to get to a point and it will then went all the way this side, and you can see it's actually on the way into the middle anyway, so it's not going to be a problem at all. What we'll have to do is just rewind it, or not, because if we use it to haul out or haul in, we'd probably undo it all anyway. So yeah, awesome job. One thing you've got to be careful of is if you brake and you're on the flat, you don't want the thing to career into the back of your car. So yes, that was something we've got to be careful of. It has bucked into the winch itself, so I don't think it could technically hit the car. But you know what cars are like these days, you know, you put a hole in your bumper, it's like £600, you know, so we don't want to be doing that. Right, let's see if we can, we are on a little bit of a hill here, but I think as long as we're, whoop, come here you, as long as we get this jockey wheel up, I think we'll be good. Yeah. Okay. This is the moment of truth. I don't want to, well, if we lose the boat down by the shore, we've got a winch to go get it now. So that's now disconnected from the winch. I'm just going to move that like that. There we go. Normally you'd lock your jockey wheel in, but we are okay here. It's very stony here. Let's, oh, don't want to lose that bolt. That will come off. We can pop that straight in. Battery's completely disconnected now. This, oh, that's interesting. Oh no, the little rubber band thing's here. So that little rubber band thing came off, but there we go. Unless that's just to keep it honest while you're travelling. Full of oil, that, or grease. Now all we've got to do is get this on here without losing control of the trailer. There we go. There we go. Yeah, you know it's on because this little green thing pops up, and we've got the emergency cable on there as well. I just can't tell you how pleased I am with that. You can see my mind working, all the, not just only the uses I've got for that winch, but all the, I can feel the fear of launching this big boat, this big dinghy, on slipways on my own just evaporate now. So that is amazing. That is bloody amazing, isn't it? I am really chuffed with that. Okay, we need to get this boat home, so I'm going to prep her to get home and we're going to go. One thing we need to do is just check the tyres aren't too flat. That looks about right. It's on some stones there. The other thing we need to do, just double check these wheel nuts are okay, which they do look okay. They're all present at least anyway, aren't they? And this side too. The reason I'm looking at those is because a lot of them been going missing, so that's something I definitely want to sort out before we go. The other thing I'm just going to check is the water. There's hardly any water in there. I bilge pumped it before I left, and it got rid of all the water basically. Did that really go that easy? I think it did, didn't it? So I've got to put the stones back actually. So I'm just going to get the lugger ready to go. It's all boring stuff, you've seen it all before, and then we'll get home.